I didn't love myself, and you give power and influence to the wrong people. Look how it turns out. You have to hide yourself from nobody else on the external side to keep up. Hello and welcome back to Ascension with V. I am your host, Stashia Jeanette, aka V, and today I'm going to talk about a subject that really needs to be discussed, especially at this point in time where we're at in the world, where we're at within the spiritual community, and so we're going to get into it. And that topic is that some people are strategically placed to mislead those who are waking up, those who are trying to do the process of ascending, those who are trying to leave the old world, the old system, the old matrix, the old illusions, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to name it, whatever you want to title it. This is what I'm talking about. And what's happening is a very well orchestrated, a very well constructed plan from those who have lost the war. Right, those who were at one point in time in the position of power here on Earth, and this whole construction, you gotta give credit to the creators of this whole situation, because they are doing a really good job of tripping up and hoeing a lot of people who think they're doing the right thing and who are trying so hard to get out, right? But what's happening is that when people have this desire, when people crave someone to lead them, someone to help them, someone to guide them, someone to kind of give them the answers, because everything is up in a blaze in their world, everything is up in a blaze in their life, everything is up in a blaze, everything is crumbling around them. They're faced with more questions, they're faced with more uncertainty, they're faced with more fear. And that's what these people who have lost the war, the people who used to be in power, thrive off of. That's what this entire construction is made from, is the foundation of fear. Right. So what I'm going to discuss in this episode is not a fear-based situation. It's not to be like, oh no, what do we do here? No, it's to empower you. It's to equip you. And it's to try to give you the guidance that you really honestly need, give you the answers, give you the cheat codes to try and navigate this the best way possible. It's not something that you can do without having to put work in it with yourself. I'm just giving you the tools, right? I'm going to give you the ingredients to bake your cake, but you ultimately have got to do the work to bake it. So a lot of people right now are leaving, like I said, this one system, the old system of either religion, of the old society, of traumas, of, it's like you hopped out one pot and into another type of situation, right? So they're like, great, you got out of this one gate and you got out of this one cage, but I'm going to I have another one set up for you that doesn't look like the typical cage that you're used to. And the people who are holding the gate doors open or the trap door open for you are going to look like the people that you're actually wanting to find, or the people that you're wanting to help you or guide you. And we're going to disguise them and dress them up real well. And then we're going to push them out into the media. We're going to give them the best algorithmic push that is possible to make it sure that you're finding the people that we want you to find, and that you are not finding the people that we don't want you to find. Right. And that's what's taking place. Is it's a lot of lost and confused souls who are stumbling and bumbling into the hands, the traps, the claws of nefarious entities. It's almost like an industry plant, right? Like, how in the media they'll say that person's an industry plant because it popped out of nowhere, and all of a sudden, they're in all the hip hop songs, and they're in all the rap features, and in all the things, right? Not even just within the rap or hip hop industry, but in any kind of music industry. or entertainment industry when somebody just comes out of nowhere, not all the time, but more than not, when somebody just pops out of nowhere, you're like, oh, this person, all of a sudden they've got billions of followers and millions of followers, and everybody somehow knows who this person is, and everybody's gravitating towards them. It's like this is the industry plant scenario. It's like this is the same situation that I'm talking about here within the spiritual community. There have been strategically placed false prophets into the spiritual community. The spiritual community is not avoidant, is not immune to having industry plants who are strategically set out there in order to drain you, trap you, keep you stuck in a loop, or to put you into the new cage that they've created, right? So the ultimate goal here for them is, because they know that they have lost this war, what they're going to do, have been doing, and are currently doing, is they're trying to take as many souls down with them as possible, right? Because they know ultimately they are going down, but what they're wanting to do is take as many of you with them as possible. And they're doing it very well, very strategically. And I made notes here, so I'm going to go off of kind of the things that I put on my notes to talk about here, from bullet point to bullet point to bullet point, and I'll break them down for you guys on essentially what I had said and the things behind them. So bullet point number 1 is the false prophets are being strategically placed and given high visibility in the spiritual community in order to trap those seeking ascendancy in yet another illusionary world, right? This is what I've kind of just already explained, but it's working very well. And as somebody that frequently stands back, zooms out, and takes a really good look from the very detached and zoomed out perspective of things, I'm seeing it ablaze frequently. And people are taking the bait left and right. Why? Because their content is being pushed. And not only that, but they're using the lingo, the words, the verbiage. They're packaged very well. And it's almost like they're being given the key words that are going to attract those who are trying to ascend, those who are trying to get out of the old system, the old matrix, the old illusionary world. And because what's happening now in this new system, in this new world, it is fully spiritually, energetically based, right? So your physical, logical mind kind of is taking secondhand, is kind of taking back seat to things, and your spiritual, energetic mind is taking the driver's seat, is taking front place, is in the primary operating zone, right? Like this is how this new realm, this new existence, the new system is entirely spiritual and energetic based. And most who are falling prey to this new trap that has been set for those trying to get out, they do not yet have all of their upper chakras activated, unlocked. And you guys are going to get tired of me talking about this, but this is literally the key to getting out successfully without being tripped up or placed in another cage or placed in another bear trap or getting stuck in another pitfall. Like, it's so crucial. And because I need to come up with a nickname for them. We'll call them the Dementors. So because the Dementors of the old world are very much aware that many of those who are getting out of the old world do not have this component available, they know that they can get away with just putting whoever out there into the masses, as long as they match the persona of those who are authentic and those who truly do have spiritual gifts that are using them for the highest good of all. And without that component, they know that they will not be able to see that these are indeed just false prophets, that these are indeed just false idols or false industry plants that are put forth in order to trap and drain and confuse and mislead and steal from those trying to get out. So the next bullet point I have is those seeking to escape must have their heart chakra fully opened and activated, along with their third eye and crown, in order to fully receive the guidance from their sonar system. I speak about this frequently, and it again, it's like me beating the dead horse here, but it's because it's necessary. Your heart chakra is your sonar system that can see, perceive, and understand what is going on in the world around you. When everything is crumbling, everything is filled with illusions, everything is filled with traps, everything is filled with lies and deception and manipulation, your heart chakra's sonar system is what is able to penetrate through these things and accurately ping out and scan and analyze the energies of people, places, and things around you, regardless how they may be presenting in the physical. And it will bring back to you and feed up to you through your throat chakra, through your third eye chakra, and up to your crown chakra, for you to fully absorb, grasp, and process the truth of what it is that's beholding in front of you. And without having your sonar system turned on and active, and without you being able to have the crown chakra and the third eye chakra able to process the information that your heart chakra sonar is giving to you, you're only left with being able to see the physical. And some people, even if you have maybe your heart chakra sonar on just a little bit, you'll be able to feel like a little bit of like, that seems strange. But again, if your crown chakra is not fully activated and you're still operating in the system of the old world's physical system and the old world's logical system, then you will defer. What am I trying to say? You will disregard what your heart chakras, what your intuition is trying to give you the nudge to say, I don't know about that. Something seems off, right? Because technically your physical logical mind is still running the show, even though we're no longer in that system where the physical logical mind and eyes are primary, are the native language here. So you really have to have this component in order for you to be able to accurately see, navigate, analyze, understand, and see through the illusionary world that we are living in, because right now it is nothing but lies, deception, corruption, illusions, trickery, manipulation. It's a lot of this kind of energy that's floating about, and what your physical eye see cannot be relied upon. And I cannot stress that enough. The next bullet point that I have is you must know yourself better than the enemy knows you, and you must be able to control your emotions enough to respond and not react when they try to attack you and your energy. There's a lot in this one bullet point to break down, but the first one being your enemy. The Dementors know you like a book. And mostly what they know about you are your fears, your insecurities, your vulnerabilities, and the things that you have yet to face within yourself, right? Those things are what they know like the back of their hand. They know exactly what's going to trigger you. They know exactly where you have a gaping wound at that you have yet to do the dressing on, that's still actively bleeding. They know exactly where, you're still dealing with some trauma, where you're still having heartache, where you're still having PTSD over. They know all these things about you, and they strategically use those things against you by sending you these types of false prophets, right? Aligning you, if you will, with these kinds of false prophets that will and are capable of preying on your weaknesses, your fears, the things that you refuse to look at, deal with, and transmute within yourself, right? They know, right? They absolutely know these things. And so to combat this, you have to be able to control your emotions enough to no longer be in the energy of reacting when something happens, or when they try to pull one of these cards, or they try to send, a dementor to you to trigger you, or to, put you in some sort of manipulative loop. This happens so frequently in the world, and a lot of people don't even know that it's happening until afterwards, when they get home and they're like, why was I so pissed off? And then you reflect back and you're like, because that person at the grocery store said this, that, and the third to me, or because this person said this to me online, or whatever the case may be. Or I'll take it a step further. Sometimes you will be online and somebody will say something, or you'll see a post where somebody has said something that will align you with one of these people who are a false prophet, that preys on your exact trigger, that prey on your exact wound, that prey on your exact PTSD thing, your exact trauma, whatever it is, right? And it will lure you in, reel you in, right? And not only that, but because they have been pushed by the algorithms and pushed within the media, there's a lot of these who are in the religious sector. They in Media City. They're in Media City. So they will be out there. Your algorithm is going to push them to you. And because you're seeing other people commenting and wanting to work with them, and them, then the FOMO kicks in, right? Now you have this fear of missing out. Oh, well, if all these people are responding and working with this person, then I should, they seem trustworthy. They seem like a legitimate person. Like, look at all these hundreds of comments of people who are interacting with them, and this, that, and the third. It's so easy to get caught up and sucked into their traps, their loops, their reels, their bait, right? So learning to respond when something happens, whether it be that you just take a pause, whether it be that you just walk away, whether it be that you just close out of your app, whether it be that you start trying to retrain your algorithm to something else. I don't care if you go onto social media and do nothing but like puppy videos. If you don't do anything but like capybara videos, if you don't do anything but like funny meme videos or whatever the case may be, retrain your algorithm to not be drawn to these types of people's nonsense. You have the ability to change what it is that you consume, and you have the ability to change what it is that you're drawn to at any point in time. But you've got to be able to recognize when these things are happening, when these things are taking place. You have to know yourself inside and out, and you can't be afraid to go within to your mind and sit in there and take a good look around and be like, oh shit, there's a lot of stuff that I neglected here, or there's a lot of things that I've not dealt with here. And like, it might be scary, but you got to do this. You have got to do this and shift it from fear to courage. You have got to have to go within yourself and to deal with your unprocessed emotions, your unprocessed trauma, your unprocessed triggers, the things that piss you off, the things that have happened to you, the things that you are afraid of. It's okay. It's okay. You're not meant to be out here like just unbothered by everything like some robot. That's not the case. But you have to take accountability, and you have to be okay with going in and understanding your darkness. You have to, because you are not just a being of one thing. You are a duality, polarity filled soul. You have both light and you have both dark. You have both good, you have both bad, you have both masculine, you have both feminine, and you have got to acknowledge all these parts within yourself if you are going to be able to take control of your mind, if you're going to be able to take control of your vessel, if you're going to be the captain of your own ship. And you have that ability, but you have got to have the courage to do so. Courage is the other side of fear. Just flip it. You can easily slide that slider over from, well, I'm afraid to, I'm courageous. Courage and fear are both one and the same on different ends of the vibration, of different ends of the frequency, right? You would relate fear to the lower end of a frequency, and you would relate courage to a higher end of the frequency, but it is on the same bar, right? All you have to do is put it within your mind to say, I am no longer going to be in the energy of fear, but I am going to put that energy into that of courage, and have the courage to face yourself and your insecurities, your pain, your trauma, and grab it by the horns. Grab it by the horns. The next one that I have is you must understand, acknowledge, and accept your pain and vulnerability. Otherwise, they will be weaponized against you. I've kind of already covered that, so I'm going to move on. Your fear will be exploited if you don't accept it and change it into courage. This absolutely, we've already kind of touched on this, but the broader point of it is again, with the Dementors knowing exactly what it is that you fear and exactly what it is that you have yet to face within the self, they can, will, and have, and are currently right now doing it to exploit you and those things, whether it be by, again, aligning you with a false prophet that is going to manipulate you, trap you, use you, whatever the case may be, or by sending people who are going to connect with you, whether it be in a relationship. That happens a lot as well, where they will send somebody who is going to keep you in their own trap by preying off of whatever insecurities or fears or traumas that you have going on. That happens frequently. But in general, whatever way, shape, or form that they may utilize or weaponize your fears or insecurities against you will happen. So you have got to do the things of just sliding that little dial from fear over into courage, and allowing yourself to sit with the things that you have gone through, the things that you are afraid of, the things that you don't want to be vulnerable in, the things that scare you, the things that, keep you awake at night, whatever the case may be. You need to acknowledge these things, because all in the game of spiritual warfare, right? All things are go. And this is not the time. I've been saying this for a year or more, 2 years now. Now is not the time to be out here with a whole bunch of unacknowledged, unfaced, undealt with trauma and pain, and you going out there blindly trying to just I'm here, I've arrived into the spiritual world, but like you haven't done any of the work within the self to know where you have gaping holes, gaping wounds, gaping bleeding wounds at that will be instantly preyed upon. The next bullet point that I have is, know that the most powerful and authentic people are not shouting from the rooftops about their abilities, nor are they standing on stages performing miracles. It's bad. It's really, really bad. It's really, really bad. I'm not name dropping nobody. I'm not, but like, I feel like me saying that has brought up at least 2 or 3 people in y'all's minds at this point of exactly the examples that I'm talking about. There's so many people who have been sucked into the warped, corrupt teachings of a lot of these exact people. And anybody that wants to get up on a stage and try and perform their abilities like a circus act, because that's what this shit is very much a circus. Like, I'm gonna keep it $100 with you. A lot of us, most of us who have legitimate, very powerful spiritual abilities, we don't want to be bothered with y'all, period. Like, we're out here doing what it is that we're doing for the highest good of all, because that's our soul's mission. Right? But a lot of us, we work very well behind the scenes, not being in the spotlight. And when we have to interact with people, when we have to be the center of attention, is very uncomfortable for us. You know, we hermits. A lot of us are hermits, and we do our best work when we're not put out on center stage. You know, we don't want fame. We don't want, you know, this kind of look at me, look what I can do, look what I'm doing over here, put me on a pedestal type shit. We don't want that. It's a huge, it's almost like those people who record themselves donating to the homeless. That's the most cringeworthy shit I've ever seen. And honestly, that should be a red flag to a lot of people. Why are you recording yourself helping others? You don't need, the world doesn't need to know. Only the universe, God's source universe, needs to know that these are the things that you're doing. And that should just be between you and the universe, you and the divine, right? You and yourself. It should just make you feel good to know that you're helping other people. You should want to do it just because it's the right thing to do, because it gives your soul, because it gives your heart and soul pleasure to do so. It makes you feel good to help other people. But like, if you're going around like, and so I'm out here with, you know, I'm out here on the streets, or I'm out here underneath the bridge, and I'm doing this, that, and the third, and like, get this on camera. And then when you start to hold the camera up and count the money that you're giving them so everybody can see exactly what it is, that's awful. That's so awful. And that happens so frequently. It happens so frequently. And everybody's like, oh, you're such a great person. Oh, you're so nice. Oh, that's so great of you. And like, people think that they're, you know what I mean? You don't need to shout from the rooftops about what it is that you're doing for other people. Just like you don't need to have an audience to recognize your gifts and abilities. You don't need to have a sold out stadium to stand on. You don't need to be standing up on the stage to demonstrate what it is that you're doing, right? Like, it's different. If you get called in for like an interview to talk about the things that you do, great. But like, I feel like y'all know exactly what it is that I'm trying to say here of this type of person. It's rampant in these streets of these types of people that are exactly what I'm describing as these false prophets of industry plants, of destruction, of corruption, of misleading. And that leads into the next point of, you will be able to recognize a fake or false prophet by their desire to be praised, their hostility towards anyone who doesn't align with their words, or their undertones of manipulation. They will often have hundreds of thousands of followers or views, and the media will give them coverage constantly. They will claim to be God's one and only prophet or messenger. They will know the verses enough to make you believe that they are real, right? So this is a two-part thing, right? So not only just for the spiritual community, but also within the religious community. I'm not in the religious community like that, but I again, sitting from the crow's nest, looking down and observing everything from this very zoomed out perspective, I see it equally. I see it equally on both sides, the religious side and on the spiritual side. Y'all, they're doing the same things. And it's the same motive to take as many people and their souls down with them. They know they lost. They know that there's destruction is imminent for them. But what they can and are going to continue to do down to the bitter end is take as many people with them as possible. And they're doing that frequently by the ways that I've already mentioned. You can tell, like, obviously you can't tell. Obviously a lot of people can't tell because it's working, and again, I feel like America is a really great example of how people can't tell when they're being manipulated or when there are false prophets and false idols in front of them, where they're saying one thing, but like the energy ain't matching it. You're presenting as this really great, wholesome person, this God-fearing person. It's all for the sake of the Lord, and I'm doing this because the Lord and the Lord this. But meanwhile, look at the actions. Look at the actions of people. Like, if you don't do anything else, open your eyes enough to just look, compare the two. It's like in the religious sector, people will only pick and choose verses of the Bible, what commandments they're going to follow based off of what fits their narrative, what fits their motive, what fits their agenda. And this has been happening frequently, but right now in 2026, more than ever, it's abundantly clear that there has been no goodness in the heart of religion for some time. Any holiness, any good rooted seeds had been lost and soiled for some time ago. And what we have right now are false prophets and idols and leaders up in these religious sectors. And there's so many nefarious entities and energies that are just hiding behind the word of sacred text, whatever the sacred text may be, because it's not just limited to one religious sector. It's across the board, right? The goal is for the entire planet of Earth. It's not just limited to America, while America is absolutely the epicenter of this corruption, but it is not limited to just one country. It's worldwide, that they are taking people down with them in abundance. Because again, people think they're doing the right thing. And when you want an external person to tell you how to live your life and what to do more than you trust your own self to make those own judgments for yourself, when you put your responsibility and your accountability in the hands of someone outside of you, this is what happens. This is what happens. You fall for anyone or anything that you think is saying or doing the right things in accordance to whatever your perception is at the time. And unfortunately, a lot of people's perceptions are very effed, are very warped, are very skewed purposely. And it's bad, it's really bad. At one point in time, we were doing good with trying to be good, wholesome people and souls in the sector of religion and both in the sector of spirituality, right? But now they have fused in having a common goal, which is trying to take the souls of those who are trying to escape or those who are trying to do good. I do honestly believe that there's a lot of people who honestly think that they're doing the right things by like just following whatever the pastor says, or just by following whatever their family traditions on their religion or their family's beliefs are. A lot of people don't want to go against whatever it is that their family has had within their belief system for however long, right? A lot of people don't want to go against the grain, whatever the case may be. But the cost of that is never questioning anything. And when you don't question anything, you fall for everything. Like, if you don't know who you are, you allow an external force to tell you who you are, what you can or cannot be. And that's where we're at. Is a lot of people who have given up their autonomy because someone else has told them that's the right thing to do. And that's not it. This is ultimately the everybody keeps talking about World War III, and World War III been going on for a long time, but this is the most dangerous war that has ever been fought in the history of Earth, because it's not for freedom, it's not for money, it's not for greed, it's for your souls. It's for your minds. It's for your hearts. It's for your autonomy. It's for your soul's freedom, right? Because this is the pivotal point in time where, again, the split has and is happening, where some people are not going to make it. Some people are not going to make it, and it sucks because a lot of people think that they have been doing the right thing only to find out that they have been lied to. And once they find out that they have been lied to, it's too late. It's too late. This is really unfortunate. You know, it's really unfortunate. This warfare that has been going on has been and will be the most deadly because it's for your soul. It's for your soul. They want your soul at the end of the day. They want to make sure that you don't have the opportunity to leave this earth's realm, that your soul has no chance, because they don't have a chance of any kind of reprieve, of rest, of healing, of ascension, of redemption. They want to make sure that no one else has it as well. The next one that I have is, there are many more examples of this, but in general, if you are even mildly cognizant, you will be able to tell that something is off with these people. I've already covered that one. This one, do not invite them in. Do not open your energetic, spiritual, or physical vessels to them in any way. What I mean by this is that there is a almost like in the old what do they call it, like folklore, the lore of like vampires having to be invited into somebody's home before they can like come in, right? You invite people into your energetic space more than you think, and when you interact with somebody's content, it is an energetic exchange, right? And if you are interacting with somebody's content, if you're watching somebody's videos and you're hitting like, or regardless, even if you don't hit the like button, when you are consuming people's, this is another point, but I'm gonna talk about it now since it's already coming up. When you consume people's content on social media, there are two things that can happen. It can free you, it can be activating, it can be healing. And then just on the other side of that, it can also trap you, it can drain you, and it can manipulate you. And that's what a lot of the content that's being pushed out on YouTube, on Instagram, on all the social media platforms are doing, is the latter. It's the trap people who are hurting and vulnerable in these loops. You know, you'll see an endless abundance of content on videos, especially from tarot readings that are talking about like, oh, they're coming back. Whoa, that person that broke your heart is on the way back to you. And because how many people around the world are wanting to hear that right now because they're heartbroken? Right? Heartbreak will always be something that is profitable, that is preyed upon frequently, and those types of videos will forever have thousands upon thousands of views because that's what sells. And it's easy to keep people trapped in this loop of hopelessness, right? Of wanting to have like a little bit of hope, and then you want to watch the next video and 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 the next video because you're hoping that you're going to hear something about like, oh, expect a phone call from them. Oh, expect a text message from them. And tomorrow and next week they're going to ask you to go to coffee. And next week they're going to call you and ask you if you want to get back together and this, that, and the third. Or even more beyond that, it's a rage bait thing of like that person that you are dating is sleeping with somebody else and it's your best friend's ex. And it's these things that very easily pull people in. It's the old bait and switch, right? It draws you in very quickly because it's a pain point for you. Oop, I've activated that open wound for you. Let me just dig in here. Boop, boop, boop. Right? Now they've got you triggered. They've dug their claws into your open wound and they've pulled you to them like Tim Scorpion talking about some get over here. Like they reel you in very quickly, and the content has a I don't know if it's like a dopamine addiction or hit that happens when you watch this content, but it has some sort of brain chemical reaction that addicts you to it, that locks you into these kinds of, and then before you know it, you're digging more and more and more and more and more into the loop, and you're trapped. You are trapped in this cycle of a storyline, right? You're and it doesn't even just have to be that. Some people are, obsessed with like, let me watch this like alien invasion type shit. Let me focus on the reptilians, or let me focus on the grays, or let me focus on this, that, and the third. I'm gonna keep it $100 with y'all. It doesn't matter. It doesn't give a shit. All these people, beings, entities, whatever the case you may want to call it, they've been here for some time. They walk among you, and more than likely they are posing as people that you are looking up to, giving your money to, following, or are looking to for guidance. And these are the things that are going over a lot of people's heads because you're blind to it. You're blind to it. So not all content is created equally. A lot of it right now is meant to trap you. It's meant to hold you back. It's meant to drain you. It's meant to dig into your wounds. Very, very few of the good, wholesome content is being pushed out strategically. Very few of the good, wholesome, authentic, healing people with these gifts, abilities are being put into the forefront for this reason. So you counteract this by not just blindly seeking validation or guidance from just anyone. You need to rely upon God's source universe, and that's it, until you have built up your own ability and established a connection to all of your chakras and to God's source universe, and you have faced and acknowledged and done just some healing work within yourself, and you've reclaimed your sovereignty, your autonomy. You're not just out here like looking for just anybody to grab your reins and lead you wherever they may, because a lot of these people who are leading you off the cliff blindly, and you're fine with it. If you want to truly succeed in reclaiming your sovereignty and reclaiming your autonomy and having this ascension process in the best way possible, you've got to take your power back, and you've got to take accountability for where you're at. You have to acknowledge yourself, your wounds, your triggers, all the things, and don't just trust what it is that you see, trust what you feel. And again, if you cannot feel, then trust yourself enough to just not go blindly seeking the validation or guidance from just anyone. Like I said, it's really, really important, because they are waiting. A lot of people will, once they start dipping their toe into the spiritual world, they want to run and be like, oh, well, let me go and take, the psychedelic to try and, open my third eye chakra. And I don't recommend that either, because like I said before, a lot of these practitioners are not clean within themselves. They are not clean vessels. And then when you're blasting your chakras, your ethereal, spiritual, energetic body open, again, I don't recommend it, because these things are meant to strategically, one by one, come online. Because if you don't, it can mess you up irreparably, mentally and physically and emotionally. You will not be the same as you would have been had you have gone by one, turning the things on. You've got to be very careful when you're trying to force an awakening, which is essentially what it is. And y'all can be mad at me if you want, but this is that's what happens when you take substances that their sole purpose is to force you to have a spiritual experience. If you've not done any work on yourself prior to this, you're handing your most vulnerable vessel state over to somebody that you hope is a decent human being. and not one of the 90% of the other that are tainted within themselves, corrupted within themselves, and working with the Demengers to keep you stuck, to trap you, to negatively affect you, to harm your ethereal, physical, or spiritual or mental body while you are in the most vulnerable state ever. You know, you don't just let anyone or anything try to access your Akashic records. If you want to find out what happened in your own spiritual past lives or whatever, you need to do the work within yourself to just access your own Akashic records, or ask God Source Universe, hey, what was I doing in my past life, and wait for the answers. And if you don't get it, then you're just not meant to have the answers yet, or you're not ready for it. You know, that's the thing, is a lot of people don't want to wait. They don't want to do the work. They just want to cheat the process so that they can be like, okay, like I'm here and I'm awakened and I've done the thing. The reason why it is a multiple lifelong process is so that you have built the proper foundations for your spiritual gifts to stand upon. Right? Is like, you have to have all the pillars to stand. You have to have a solid foundation for the palace to sit upon. You can't just build it on cracked dirt, you know, like, and that's what it's like. It's like you're trying to build a palace on some cracked dirt at the edge of a cliff. And in a moment's time, with one good rain, that's just gonna fall. It's not stable, and your vessel will not be stable and is not stable if you have not done the foundational work, your shadow work, your inner self knowing, your inner child healing, your mommy and daddy wound healing. All of these things are crucial foundational aspects to being able to set the tone and create a stable foundation for your spiritual gifts to then build upon. Right? And that's the reason. And it's not meant to be something that happens overnight. It's not meant to be something that blasts open in a second, you know, while you're just away for a weekend doing, you know, shrooms or psychedelics. Like, again, no shade, but this is the realness that nobody wants to talk about. And if you want to be mad about it, fine, but you got the information that's real, you know, and I'm telling you guys this because no one's talking about this shit. Nobody is talking about this shit, and that's why so many people are hoed and messed up now. This is not a game. This is not a game. This is absolute full spiritual warfare, and a lot of people are out here tiptoeing around high as shit with no foundational buildings for anything, and they're giving their emotional, spiritual bodies to just anyone who claims that they have the gifts and abilities to do this, that, and the third, to remove this, that, and the third from their body, to heal this, that, and the third in their body. You can do that on your own. That's just like if the pastor tells you, like, oh, you got an ailment, come to me and I'll pray for you. Let me put my hands on you. Hell no. You can pray for yourself. You don't need to there doesn't need to be a middleman for you to access the divine. You can do that on your own. You can do it. Let me empower you. Let me implore you. Let me give you the permission to do these things for yourself. But it's not an overnight process. You know, it's not like you just flip the switch and you're like, okay, now I can do the things. It requires work. But if you are truly wanting to heal and get out, then the things that I'm telling you, triggering as it may be, you might be mad right now and cussing me out through the screen. Hey, that's fine. But I'll bet you one thing, I ain't never lied in none of this. And I get you one thing, that if you imply and employ the things that I have said in this, you will absolutely get your ass up out of here successfully. You will absolutely be able to see somebody that is a fraud, that is a false prophet, somebody that's coming to try to do nothing but harm to you a mile away. You will be one of the mightiest warriors that this war has ever seen. I'll bet you that. You have just got to understand that this is the art of spiritual warfare. They will and have used any means necessary to try and take as many people and souls down with them, since they know that they have lost, and they have lost. But if you want to get out, you have absolutely got to have your internal alignment. Your heart chakra, that's that discernment through your feeling. Your third eye chakra, that's that perception beyond your illusions. And your crown chakra, that's that connection to their higher guidance. That is your internal sonar system. What you have to do is have your emotional discipline, respond versus reacting. Your emotional control is your emotional and energetic protection. If they can control your emotions, they can control your direction. You need to do that shadow work. Your unhealed pain is the entry point. Vulnerability ignored is your vulnerability weaponized. What you refuse to face will be used against you. Turn that fear into courage. Fear is the easiest access point, and courage is what closes that door in their face. How to recognize the energy. If something feels off, don't ignore it. Even if you can't explain it, even if you don't have the reasons behind it, even if you don't know what it is, if something or someone feels off, listen to it. Even if all of your chakras aren't available, even if all of your gifts and abilities aren't online or active, if you even feel just an inch of something not being right, don't ignore it. Not everything is logical, but it is felt. Your body will tell you before your mind is able to catch up and process it, right? Your spiritual vessel is in the primary seat, is in the driver's seat in this new system. So you have got to trust when something doesn't feel right. Boundaries, do not invite them in. No energetic access, no spiritual submission, no blind trust. Access to you is earned, not given. Don't just go willy-nilly allowing people to do energetic work on you, to read into your energy, to put hands on you, to read your cards. You don't need somebody external to you to heal you. Maybe you need somebody to give you the guidance and tools to it. But again, until you have gotten to the point to where you can recognize that somebody's on that bullshit, you don't need to be going externally to you need to do the internal work first and sit with the divine and talk to the divine and let the divine guide you. Let the divine guide you. You don't need to go external to get answers. And if you're not getting any answers, you just not meant to have the answer. And that means that you must walk by faith and not by sight. You got to just trust. You got to just trust it, and that's a whole lot of this path. A whole lot of this path doesn't come with a handbook and a map and a compass and a guide that says this is what you got to do and this is how you got to do it to get to where you're going. It's not how it works. What happens is you just thrown out there into the abyss. It's dark. It's dark. This crossover time is a dark path. You can't see anything. You just have to trust. You have to trust what you feel. You have to trust when you're meant to move. You have to trust when you're meant to sit still and in silence. Trust the isolation phase. Trust the wait. Trust the waiting process, and be okay with not being seen. Be okay with not having the answers. Again, we as humans are so conditioned on needing to know the why and understanding the purpose behind everything and having the reassurance and the confirmation before we do things. But again, in my own personal experience, that's not how it works. In any lifetime that I've had, that's not how it's been. I've just had to trial and error my way through shit and figure it out as I went. I had to do the worst parts of my life on my own, and I talked to just myself and God's source universe. That's it. I didn't talk to anybody externally. I didn't have somebody that was holding my hand, guiding me through the things. I didn't. And still to right now, when I have something that I'm going through, I don't talk to anybody externally. I tell everybody, look, I'm going through some shit. I'll talk to you when I get it together. And I hermit, I introspect, I have deep thought, and I analyze my internal world. I go within my mind and I talk to the divine, and I sort it out within myself. And again, if I come out of all that and I still don't have the answers, it's just not meant for me to have the answers right now. And a lot of times I don't. I just trust that whatever decision that I make is the right one, and I just move with it. I just got to move with it. And the same is for you. Content is energy. Some content heals, some content drains and traps. That's just what it is. Not everything you consume is neutral, and you need to know that. You need to know that. Until your connection is strong, keep your circles small. Build connection with yourself, your body, your mind, your intuition, and God's source universe. And with all that being said, guys, I know this was a lot. I know it's a lot to take in, to consume. Re-listen to it, re-watch it as many times as you need possible. I will have a blog post of this posted as well over on reallifewithstacia.com that you can check out. And if you're a reader and you want to just read it, then you can read it as well. It'll just be from the transcript of this podcast. So whatever means you learn or whatever way will retain this information for you the best, the way that you can apply it for yourself and in your life as best as possible, use that. Please use what I'm giving you to your advantage. And that's what I got for you guys. I hope this is helpful. I hope that this sheds some light on a not so talked about, purposely not talked about topic. And I hope that it helps somebody somewhere escape from the clutches of nefarious entities and their traps. Thank you all for all your likes, shares, subscribes, and donations. And the New Earth Guidebook to Healing and Ascension is available on Amazon, and you can book a recorded reading with me, and the link in the description box below, as well as to donate to me is also in the link in the description box below. And you can also apply to work one-on-one with me to create a individualized package should you need that. With all that being said, I'll see you guys. V Squad.